If we are ready to start, Charlie, give me a thumbs up.
Uh, Hello, everybody.
Okay, so Rudy, you're unmuted and you're ready to go.
Is everybody here that needs to be here?
We're at 20 participants.
Okay. So everybody, thank you for attending this meeting. Very important meeting that we have ahead of us. I welcome you, and I have a couple of things to say. First of all, I want to take a moment and thank you all for the exemplary way that you have all handled yourself during this crisis. I think that we've made the right hard decisions so far. Number one, we've stayed open and have been there for our patients. Number two, we've kept us all employed as much as possible, and yet not done this in a way that sabotages our future. Number three, we have shared the pain so that everyone hurts a little bit instead of a few hurting a lot. Number four, we've been able to implement some great things like cover EFMLA, emergency paid time off, and healthcare benefits instead of layoffs. Because we have kept our doors open and learned to adapt to imposed demands, we are way ahead of our competition. We've been screening and physical distancing for weeks now and never stopped communicating with our referral sources and our communities. But most importantly, we stayed connected and our culture has never wavered, and if anything, is stronger than ever. It's not going to get any easier yet, but we have opportunity coming and ahead of us. Please keep taking care of each other. If someone isn't in the clinic, reach out to them. Keep them connected. They are still part of our team. And finally, thank you all sincerely for staying the course, and God bless us all.
Thank you, Rudy. I am going to go ahead and mute you. Our first presenter is going to be Sylvia. I am going to unmute her. Her presentation is going to be on human resources. Let me go ahead and bring up your slides, Sylvia. And whenever you're ready, ma'am.
Before I start, I think I saw Samantha White. Is it right next to Eric, I think?
Yes, that's correct.
We want to welcome Samantha White. She's the team leader for Horizon Valley. So thank you for joining EPPTS.
I needed to make two quick announcements and you cut me off, Armando.
Oh.
Okay, so hold on one second. Let me go back with Rudy. Go ahead, Rudy.
Okay, so sorry guys, I had two quick announcements to make. One is that we at the Committee for Telehealth have very good news to present to the company very soon. CMS has now included physical therapy as a telehealth service, meaning there's a big difference between e-visits and telehealth, and that information is going to be coming to you. We will clear everything in the air. We'll show you all how to build, what to build, and where to go with Optimus. That's one announcement I wanted to make because it's good news. It's good news for not only right now during COVID-19, but for the future. Second thing and last thing I want to mention is it was brought up to my attention that we needed to discuss what if one of our professionals, a PT for instance, goes into the clinic, has a high temp of 100, over 100, what do we do? It is clearly delineated by our compliance department, which has been working endlessly to try and get us to par with what the local, state, and federal governments do. Within El Paso Therapy Services, if, for instance, I'm going to use the east side as an example. If, say, Saranya comes in and has a temp of 100 or above, we'll take her temperature and have her wait 5 minutes if it's over 100, and have her wait 5 minutes take the temperature again. If it dropped, fantastic, and she can stay to work. However, if after 5 minutes and after 2 times, the temperature has not dropped, Saranya has to go home for at least 3 days. And then what do we do for coverage? That was the question. Well, here is the protocol. If it's at the east side, first, if it's within the clinic, we want to have resolution within the clinic first and foremost. So Chole would be, if she was off, would be the one to be called in order to see if she could cover. Now, second thing is, if Chole can cover, you're gonna have to give her, or any other professionals, 1 hour to get ready to get back in there. In the meantime, that patient's gonna be waiting. So there's gonna be a verbiage sent to the OCs that can be given to the patients, indicating that the therapist will come and cover in order for us to continue patient treatment. So that script is coming as well. Now, if, for instance, you can't cover within the clinic, then myself, the CEO, is to be informed. That's the second step, so that then I can look at the West Side schedule and determine who will be going over and covering for the East Side or the other clinic, Horizon Valley. This applies also to patients with that have been ill, and compliance has modified its documents in order to reflect this protocol. So even if you do resolve the coverage issue within the clinic, still have to contact me, the CEO, so that we can know that the outcome and the resolution is there. Any questions? Good. Now we'll turn it over to Sylvia in Human Resources.
Okay, so we are gonna go ahead and move over now to Sylvia. Sylvia, your slide is on and your microphone is unmuted.
Okay, just real quick to report to everybody, the EPPTS TWC share work plan is in place for EPPTS. So I'm happy that all of our, our employees are already starting to submit. They start already submitting their claims, and a lot of them had been already being processed by TWC, and our employees are also starting to get those benefits. And again, this share work program is a reduced work hours with partial unemployment benefits. So that's where Rudy mentioned that the company made a decision not to lay off anybody. We all share the pain right now, and we all are being hanging in there. So weekly certifications had been already completed from March 22nd through April 25th. You don't have to do, the employees, that what I'm finding out is that employees don't have to do anything once they create their account. So as TWC opens the certification for the week, once I certify it, then they process for those that already created a claim, submitted a claim. So for right now, employees don't have to do anything until other than create that unemployment account. What we are also just want to clarify is that there is a requirement, and that is a base period requirement. So employees need to have 18 months work history. If not, they don't have it, then they will not qualify for nor the share work program, nor for the unemployment claim. It has to have a base period requirement. So, or meet the 18 months work history. So what in the state of Texas, what they are doing is that we have another assistance program, and that is the pandemic unemployment assistance. And that is for employees who are not working at all, or that they did not qualify or did not meet the requirement for the 18-month work history. And what I'm learning, and I'm tapping into different employees, especially here on the west side and business office, to learn, because again, it's a new system. And the way it's reading is that you did not earn enough money to establish an unemployment benefit claim. So that is the denial. That's when TWC is denying the claim. At that point, if you are getting that denial, you need to let me know, or I will start contacting employees, because I'm going to be removing those employees from the Share Work program, and they need to reapply again, not for the Share Work, but for the unemployment claim. So that way they can be considered for the pandemic unemployment assistance. And currently I'm working with one employee also, so we can find the logistics of this process. And as I continue to learn about this system or these different assistance programs, I will give you more details. And the last one is the federal pandemic unemployment compensation. That is an additional assistance, and it is up to $600 per week for claimants receiving unemployment benefits. So that is via a complete unemployment claim for those that are not working, out the share that are participating on the Share Work program. And I already also, based on my contacts here in the Westside Business Office, we have employees that are receiving already benefits for the Share Work program, plus the $600, the full amount, $600. So that's another assistance during this pandemic time. If anybody has any questions, I would highly recommend that you all forward, ask them to contact me to my email. Currently, I'm in a lot of meetings, so and then that gives me time to review the claim on my end on the portal, and then I can return that call to that employee so I can better assist them, because it can be more on a per case basis situation, and I can be more helpful at that point. Any questions? Okay, that's all for me.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mute Sylvia, and that leads me to, if you do have questions, if you raise your hand, the ones that have audio, and if you don't, you can set, those that don't have video, you can put something on the chat, and I'll unmute you and you can ask your question. Is that fair? Yep, okay, thank you. Okay, so the next portion is going to be information systems. That is me. Let me share my talking points, and then we'll go, actually, I'm not going to share my talking points. I'm going to share my desktop, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so the first topic that I want to cover is the Office 365. And basically, on the Office 365, I do want to just kind of give everybody a heads up on how it's been working. For effective yesterday, we no longer have an EPPTS Office 365 account. It's full Confluent Health. So if on your portable devices or on any of your workstations, you get a message that says that you need to provide your credentials, use your Okta credentials to log in. Okay, your Okta credentials being the ones that we have in our home, which is this one right here. Your Confluent Okta one. So you log in and you should be able to access that. That's one of the main things that I want to make sure that everybody is aware of. Also, when you log into your Okta, we do have an Office 365 online portal that will give you access. If you get this message, go ahead and hit yes. You do have access to your email from any workstation that has internet. By using your Okta login and your Okta credentials, you would go into Office 365, you would hit Outlook, and you can immediately access the emails that you currently have on your desktop. Okay. Unlike before, where the email used to live in our computers, our email now lives in the cloud. So that means wherever you're working from, your work is saved and follows you everywhere you go. So that's a big plus about having this done and having this new system of doing things is now your email will follow you everywhere you go. Another thing that I want to touch base on is the Confluent transition is bullet number 2, is I wanted everybody to know that you don't have to have the Okta window open. By clicking on your little O on the side, you can access all of your apps in the same manner. So you don't have to be re-signing into Okta every single time, okay? It's just something to help everybody get more familiar with the Okta system. You can click your O and you can go into any of your ePPTS apps that you normally go into. And then the next bullet point is email. We have completely done away with all of the shared emails, meaning the ones that start with ePPTS and then a job title, then at eppts.com. If you are having a problem because we're still having some issues with that, please let me know so I can get Justin to help us with it. The transition went really smooth, but there are still some lingering items that are preventing from us receiving all of the emails. But if you don't tell me, I won't know. Because unlike before in our old system, I no longer have access to your emails and I can no longer go into your emails and help you with something. I no longer have access to that. Matter of fact, nobody has access to that no more. So just, let me know if you're having problems so we can help you with that. And then the very last thing is the Trillian Instant Messenger. I'll be going in during the week as I do visits and deliver and pick up items or install items. And I'll be uninstalling Trillian. We're no longer using Trillian as an instant messenger anymore. Okay, so if you can avoid using that, use your Teams, use your chat on Teams. That is the most secure and the recommended way to communicate with each other. And I will stop sharing. And that will be all for my presentation. The next presenter is going to be Margot. Before I mute you, Margot, let me put on your presentation on the screen, and then I will be unmuting you very shortly. Give me one quick second. Let me pull up your share, and then unmute you. And Margot, you are unmuted. Your presentation is being displayed.
Thanks, Armando. Good afternoon to all. I hope each of you and your families are all doing well during this time. I know we all have had to make some adjustments in how we practice, but looking forward to this new phase 1 starting today. Regarding physician and office staff communication through COVID-19, handwritten notes to physicians has been ongoing. The top priority was our orthopedic surgeons, as 2020 was the push for all things ortho. Top referring PCPs have also been given handwritten notes, sent handwritten notes, and these have gone out to all of our primary physicians, secondary, and some, but not all, tertiary. And just for a brief overview, I know obviously our referrals aren't what we're used to, but as of yesterday morning, and this is just a note specific to the ortho that we're seeing, and I'm certain with the uptick in the surgeries now, we're going to be seeing more ortho. West Clinic, out of the 13 referrals that they do have for April through yesterday morning, 6 of those are ortho, so 46% of their referrals. Horizon Valley had 22, and out of those 10 are orthos, which is out of 45% of their current referrals. And then East had 29 referrals with 11 specific ortho, so they are out of 40%. So again, hoping to see more as these doctors are now coming to do surgeries. So along that, phone calls have also been made during this time. So I've spoken with practice managers, admins, MAs, and receptionists to find out what their protocols and processes were during this time. So I'm sure, as all of you are aware, some were only seeing patients in practice care, but patients only and not family members, as we're trying to do as well. Some practices were closed completely. Physicians, their practice clinic, but physicians and staff are working remotely and providing telehealth. Some practices canceled all their well visits, and some are working still in their practices with limiting and rotating schedules, as we are doing. And at that time, all elective surgeries were canceled. As of today, the calls I made, some physicians are still remaining closed, specifically Dr. Bender, and I called her to follow up for a luncheon, and I'll talk about that a little more later. But they're remaining closed, and they couldn't give me a definite time that the doctor would feel comfortable coming back in, so she remains telehealth. Some physicians are limiting people to be in the reception area, so they're continuing the social distancing and requiring masks. And some are only taking well visits back into the clinics, and sick patients will continue with telehealth. And specific to the OSA tenant physicians, they're going to be closed every Friday until further notice. So more to come on that. So also during this time, I've been working closely in tandem with the compliance team to make sure that we are up to date on our website and social media channels, to make sure that we are educating the public. So I have to tell you all a story. This is a testament to the work that's being done and keeping compliance, keeping everybody up to date. We had a referral on the west side, and I believe it's a gentleman, and his son was the one that referred him to El Paso Physical Therapy, and he referred us from China. So he was doing research for PT facilities, and I think that's a great testament to where we're at on the search engine. Plus, he just said that it seemed like we were doing more than others on the COVID-19 protocols and updates and educating the public. So I think that's a real feather in our cap. And we also had a lady from the UK reach out to us. And Rudy said, well, it would be better if you come in. And that's when we found out she was from the UK. So couldn't see her in person, but it's nice to know that our search engine is up there. Regarding implementation of phase 1 approved by the governor and the mayor, I'm sure you all have heard a little bit about that. In relation to the medical community, specifically physician offices, operations, hospitals, and surgical procedures. So I have my contacts with HCA, which is the Las Palmas del Sol facility, and then Tenet, all the Providence and Sierra hospitals, and at UMC. So Tenet were the first out the gate to start their elective procedures as of April 22nd. HCA started this week, and UMC is starting next week. And I've been told across the board that they're each going to be starting slowly. And then we have to keep in mind that although the governor and the mayor have given the green light, they also stated that reopening is at personal discretion. So there are going to be some practices that may err on the side of caution and possibly wait till phase 2 or beyond. So I will continue to keep you all posted. I will start going out on Monday, and then I'll be assessing more in person, practice by practice, to see what each of these doctors are implementing, what I run across, the wait times, because if there's too many people in the lobbies or reception areas, I'll have to wait as well. So in highlighting the marketing plan for beyond COVID-19 and reemerging at optimal functioning, the physician luncheons will resume, but back to Dr. Bender, I had her scheduled for May 7th. And when I talked to Cynthia this morning, she says that's probably unlikely that they'll be back. So we'll reschedule for another time. And I have another one set for May 13th to be determined. That was with Dr. Blas Miranda. So as we all start back and transitioning during this time, when I do schedule the luncheons, the professionals will not be asked to attend unless you're absolutely free, because it's going to be essential to be flexible in scheduling and accommodating all of our patients as we ramp back up. So along those lines, the Q2 Blitz will resume once I can confirm, that it's okay to take food items back out to the physicians. And also Q2 Wow Factor, we'll resume that. If not in May, definitely by June. I'm hoping that things are better and we can open up a little more and have a higher referral volume. And then just additional focusing on, again, the website and the social media, so we can continue to be high on the search engine, continue to be very authentic and organic with our community. We'll be having the owners do small, short videos regarding EPPTS and the value of the patients and the physicians in our community. And then we'll also be asking the PTs going forward, once we get ramped up and things are a little back to normal, we'll ask the PTs like we had with the Horizon.com Facebook videos. But Armando, I haven't talked to you about this yet, but I'll be scheduling with you to do those little video snippet, and that way he can go to you all instead of you all having to go to Horizon. So and those will be like 3 to 5 minute videos, just talking about maybe ergonomics, stimulating blood flow, stretching, anything that you all would like to promote. But we really want to stay connected with the community. So in closing, I just think, we have to continue to ramp up, all hands on deck, and communication and follow-up is key with both our patients and internally as we move forward. So that's all I have. Thank you all.
Thank you, Margot. I am gonna stop sharing that. Let me go ahead and we're gonna go to the next presentation, which is the compliance department. I am gonna unmute Chole, Amanda, and Lydia. Chole is going to take the virtual floor first. Let me go ahead and bring up your slides. Okay, and let me share that. And with that in mind, the floor is yours, Chole.
Okay, so let me just at least welcome everybody again to our current and our future compliance meetings. Before we look at this particular screening, let me just say something in general. Please have the handout that we emailed in front of you, so we can take a couple of seconds to have us all. Really encourage you to write on them, because there's a lot of changes that keep coming up, and we need to keep you informed. And so the presentation is going to be by Lydia, Amanda, and myself. We're going to go in the order that it's presented on the document or the paper. And one of the things that Amanda saw in some of her research these past 2 weeks is that CDC is really advising the entire country is plan and then revise. And I think that we've been really good at understanding that things are just so fluid. They're just changing fast, you all, but the compliance committee is truly committed to keeping us on top of everything. So just remember, we're going to be planning, and then we're going to be revising, and we'll keep you abreast through our continued Zoom meetings. So thank you to everyone who has been so good. All right, I think we'll get started.
Okay, so for the first one, the facial coverings availability update. As far as the patients, we're still going to continue issuing out the cloth masks until our current supply has been depleted. This was a public relations effort that we were trying to do to keep our doors open. So we do want to thank all the staff for the opportunity to educate the public. In regards to the patients Confluent, they're going to be sending us some disposable masks, which the available supply will be at each clinic in the event that a patient does forget to bring their mask. We do ask that you please keep 20 of those aside for our dry needling patients. And once we get those in, then they'll be dispersed to the 3 clinics. As far as the employee goes, in the event that an employee does fail to bring in their mask, they are required to go outside and call the clinic to request a disposable mask. And you can get that from the ones that we're going to get from Confluent. The only thing we are asking is that this should not be a common occurrence. So please try to make sure that it's not occurring commonly where they're just not bringing in their masks.
In response to the rapidly changing circumstances with the COVID-19 pandemic, we are updating our patient employee screening process and procedures. The following forms have been updated and can be found in public, shared East, West, Horizon Valley forms in the COVID-19 folder. Please refer to the footer on the forms for the latest revised version. The forms that have been updated are COVID-19 new referral screening, the COVID-19 new/current patient screening form, COVID-19 patient facial covering, which Lydia already covered, and you should be already using that one in the clinics, and the COVID-19 employee /symptom response form. The one that you're looking at on the screen is the new/current patient screening form, which has most of the changes, as well as the employee symptom response form involving the questions that are being asked to screen for symptoms of COVID-19. Notice that the changes have been highlighted, but if you look at the first highlighted area, we have added symptoms may appear 2 to 14 days after exposure to the virus. This is to be used as a time frame to assist with answering the questions, as onset of the symptoms should be recent. And then I'm going to go through the questions. The first question, are you currently sick? There's been no change. Second question, have you had symptoms of a cough or respiratory condition? Question is now more specific to difficulty breathing or respiratory symptoms. The third question, which is completely new, added by the CDC, has the patient or employee experienced at least 2 of these symptoms: fever, chills, repeated shaking with chills, muscle pain, headache, sore throat, or new loss of taste or smell? They've added symptoms, so we're addressing it. As a side note as well, the CDC has updated their definition of a fever to 100 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, and all forms have been updated to reflect this change. So before it was 99.6, all the new forms, or it's 100 degrees or higher, is now considered a fever. Fourth question, have you traveled to any other countries, including Juarez, Mexico, and or visited a place in the US where there is a community outbreak? The change in this question is that there is the elimination of the 100-mile travel restriction. So if they're going to Ruidoso or Cloud Cough, they can still come in without being quarantined. Mexico, though, is still something you want to watch out for because it's a new country, a different country. Fifth question, have you been in close contact with someone with a confirmed case of COVID-19? No change in this question at all. Please start using the updated forms on Monday since the questions have changed. You only need to print the second page of the form for existing patients or employees, and you only need to print enough for 2 weeks because seem to be having updates about every 2 weeks, and we don't want you to print a whole lot of copies and then waste them. Also, please note to be careful not to confuse the forms. We've had a few instances where a patient received an employee form to fill out and vice versa. Next bullet on there. If a patient or an employee is sent home due to a fever of 100 degrees or higher, or due to positive symptoms, when can they return to the clinic? A patient or employee can return to the clinic when at least 3 days have passed since recovery, which is defined as a resolution of a fever less than 100 degrees Fahrenheit, without the use of fever-reducing medications, and improvement in respiratory symptoms, which is a cough or a shortness of breath, and, not or, but and, at least 7 days have passed since symptoms first appeared. Very important that we understand that. So it's 3 days since recovery, but 7 days since their symptoms first appeared, both of them. Okay, I think I'm done with that form. We are still also recommending patients wear a facial covering. However, OCs, receptionists, or anybody encounters a patient at the front office who is resisting to wear a facial covering, please notify the therapist immediately. Don't get into an altercation or argument with the patient. Just get the therapist involved so they can bring a patient aside and explain our purpose behind wearing facial coverings. It's for everybody's safety, including all the patients and our employees, and they can go a little bit deeper into the reasoning behind we are recommending that everybody's wearing one. If the patient continues to not want to wear a facial covering, even after speaking to the therapist, we will continue to see the patient for their appointment. We feel that the number of patients that will not want to wear a facial covering will be very minimal, and hope that this will not be a likelihood, but there's always one. So just be prepared. Okay, I'm done.
All right, we're down to number 3. If you all at the same time want to use the chat that Armando spoke about and write us any questions, Amanda and I can be, we can read them and then in the chat and then answer them as they're coming up. Don't hesitate to do that if you need any clarification. Okay, on number 3, the patient schedule update. We just want to tell you how proud we are of all the 3 clinics. Amanda and I have been monitoring your schedules. You are just right spot on with the 2 patients per therapist per hour continuation. I understand that there's been times when you've had to be put 3, but it is minimal in relationship to what we were seeing 2 weeks ago. So we commend you on those efforts. As I told you last time, Amanda and I will be watching this carefully because it's taking us into the future in terms of being able to determine the effectiveness of social distancing. Team leaders, I have a real important message to all of you. Be observing your social distancing with the equipment. You know, sometimes we as therapists are in rooms and we're not out there as much as you are. You need to give each of your team feedback regarding equipment. You know, don't hesitate to change equipment. I think our clinic has already changed twice, but anything to keep the social distancing. We're ready to ramp up, like Margot said, and I don't want that social distancing component to slow us down in any way. But so that's a message out to my team leaders. And then in terms of the open gym program, because it is a gym program, we're going to follow the city's ordinances, and it may be as soon as 2 weeks. So next time we have a Zoom meeting, we might be back on the open gym. We really decided that the gym is a gym. Those gym patients were gym patients. They were not patients, and we really need to respect the cities. So I think we had a patient come in this week, one of our open gym patients, and says, I can't wait till I come back. And, you know, we feel for these because they were so used to it, but hopefully let's keep our fingers crossed. That should be hopefully when he comes into the second phase of opening. All right, let's go to number 4. Continue the current cleaning procedures. I just really want to congratulate the entire company, the entire team. We, up to this day, have not had to report an employee who's been infected, nor have we had a patient come in. And kudos to you, because that means that you understand the infection control policy that Amanda and I and Lydia had to implement. We're following through, and no one, you know, everyone is staying healthy. So congratulations to this type of rate, to this ratio that we have. I'm really encouraged that the hourly cleaning procedure continues. I'm going to name them again just because they're all important. The doorknobs, the light switches, the countertops, all the handles that you see in your clinic, your desk environment, the phones especially, please, different people use the same phone sometimes, your keyboards, the toilet and the toilet handles. Some toilets in our organization have a press button. Make sure that button's being used all the time before they wash their hands. So make sure that that's also taken care of. Your faucets in your sink. Anyone who's using a touch screen, you know, clean your screen also. Because we all care about you also out in the community. Besides taking good care of your home, CDC is saying wash your gas pumps. You know, I highly recommend that you carry hand sanitizer in your car so that when you come back in, you can clean your hands, and anyone who may be using an ATM machine. So those are some of the areas that CDC has included as we try to go back into, integrate back into our new ones. All right. One thing on number 4, section C, few of us are forgetting that before you bring the patient in, after you've done the temperature check, make sure that they clean their hands with a hand sanitizer before they enter into the treatment area. It's real important. We want them clean. CDC does say that it takes a minute. That you have to wait until the alcohol evaporates on its own. Don't let them rub it on their clothes. That should keep our infection control system fairly well. Okay. Lydia, you're next.
Armando, I think you're talking and we can't hear you.
Sorry. We do have a question from Isaac, so I'm going to unmute Isaac so he can.
Oh, hold on. Sorry, Isaac. I didn't see it. When did we first start? Oops, sorry. We've been having issues. The question is, we've been having issues with our thermometer taking consistent and accurate temperatures, oftentimes occurring low. Or do you have any other clinics experiencing this issue? I'm going to let Amanda answer that question because the answer is yes, we have.
Chili, you had problems, but it was because it was too high, correct? I don't know of any that we've had readings that are too low.
Well, it does say the word low. Ours was saying low for a while, literally.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, as the sensor part. My biggest thing is to make sure that you're not holding onto the thermometer, making sure that you're cleaning it, setting it down, letting it dry, and you're not holding onto it continuously because it is very sensitive to air conditioning in the room. I know that was a problem at one clinic. They took the thermometer outside, warmed it up a little bit. It seemed to work a little bit better. Not holding onto it because then it will read high as well. Cleaning it, setting it down, and touching it as least as possible has been the best way that I know that I've seen improvement with temperatures. Chili, do you have anything to add?
Yes, one other thing. Oh, go ahead.
I just want to make sure because ours has been we have times where it's for like a whole hour where it's not responding and we have patients coming in and I don't want to send them away because the thermometer is not taking an accurate measurement.
Yes. So one other thing that I'm going to add is make sure you're not touching the little light when it's being cleaned. Just clean the periphery. Like she said, set it down if necessary and don't touch it for at least 10 seconds to refresh it. This was happening to us right in the morning when we were taking all the employees' temperatures and we had 4 and 6 patients waiting to come in. We found that pattern. Chelsea, do you want to chime in on anything else that I know you're muted, but Armando, if you can unmute her because we had to really look at that issue with us.
Hey, Chelsea, you're unmuted.
Yes. So what we did, Isaac, was ours was saying low, like the L and the O. I think the ambient temperature was too low. So I took it outside and then warmed it up a bit and then took it on myself. And that's how I kind of fixed it. But we have 2 thermometers here now. And I did check both of them and they're both accurate on our end. And it's the same brand that I think you're using.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thanks. Good question.
Okay, if there are no more questions, and I believe it's Lydia's next.
Can you put this slide up? Okay, so this next one, this is the COVID-19 clinic checkoff list. So the committee, we're going to be using this checkoff list to measure the clinic's compliance. So I'm just going to go through them briefly. These are just certain items that I'm looking at when I'm going to the clinics, and I have already started with the 3 clinics. I should have them finished by the beginning of next week, and I'll oversee the compliance of it, and then I'll be returning back to Amanda and Chola to go over it. Once they're completed also, I'll provide the information to the OCs as well as the clinic directors. And just to go over like a few of them now, one of them is just to make sure we have our sign-in sheets complete. I'm checking the employee temperature logs to make sure, for instance, that the first employee of the clinic has the dual readings, that the questions are asked, that the AM, PM, and other shifts are completed, as well as the employee's initials and the temperature being logged on there. I'm also looking for the employee facial covering consents, just making sure that they're signed in the employee's files. As far as the patient goes, the patient facial covering consent, I'm making sure that those are completed for all the patients and scanned into their account, as well as checking the temperature log to make sure that there was a recording for every visit that they had and that it's filed within the left side of the chart. As far as the new patients going, checking to verify that that the new patients were screened prior to coming in and that it's notated in the system. For all our new patients that didn't schedule because of the COVID-19, and this is just in regards to the new patients, I'm making sure that if they were put on the new patient log as COVID-19, that the follow-up was done with those. Then for all our patients that our current patients that weren't scheduling due to the COVID-19, I'm making sure that the follow-up calls were done weekly, making sure that the letters were sent out. And this is both for the new and the current patients. And then finally, I'm just going through the magnet cards just to make sure that we are dispersing those. And I know Amanda's going to talk about that a little more next. Questions?
Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and talk about the magnet card that Lydia just referred to. We introduced everyone to the magnet card in a previous meeting, which it provides our patients with options for continuing their care during, and I want to stress also, and beyond this pandemic. Therapists, please present this card to your patients and spend a little bit of time explaining how we can provide e-visits and phone call services as a way to continue with their therapy. And I can't stress it enough that we really want to make sure all the patients are aware of their options and really have a thirst for this and explain to them all the reasons. Please present this card to the new evals. We're going to be doing a lot of re-evals coming up, so we want to get all the returning re-evals to have this card, and then to current patients, but at your discretion. So if they've been coming or they were just an eval, you don't need to reissue it, but any current patients that you feel might benefit from knowing about our options. I'm going to ask that the PTAs also help us in promoting this magnet card, giving options to the patients. Sometimes, or I know it happens to me, but during the PTAs having a conversation with the patient, they might get the feeling that the patient is having difficulty making it to their appointment, or since they might not be returning. So at that point, the PTAs can review the magnet card with the patient and discuss their options, so we can retain the patient and they can continue the therapy. So this card is real important for what we're trying to do during this time, as well as where we're going in the future. Any questions about the card?
Just a reminder that we, can you let them know about the writing their name and circling them?
Oh, yes. As you notice on the card, we have East, West, and Horizon with the phone numbers. Please remember to circle your phone number that corresponds to your clinic and then sign the card. I'm signing it with just my first name, whatever you feel comfortable with, just so they can correlate the name to the card and our face, and think about what we spoke about.
Okay, so the next item to go over is number 7, and this will be the revised front door notice. So starting next week, this will be the sign that will be replacing the 2 letters that we currently have on the door. This is just notifying the patient that if you have any of these symptoms, your fever, cough, shortness of breath, call our office before you come in. So that way then we can discuss with the therapist if that patient should come into therapy or should they not. So the therapist can question them to say maybe it's just the allergies, or maybe it's something else, or if we do need to turn them away for that visit. It's a 1-page sign. It's in English and Spanish. If you go all the way, I don't know if you can scroll down a moment to the bottom, it will have each clinic's phone number on there. And I will print them, laminate them, and I will go to your clinics and put them up for you next week.
Okay. And the last one, number 9. I just wanted to bring some information to us as a team. We're just fortunate to be living here in El Paso. I think in the past, we've always been grateful that Fort Bliss is here to protect us. despite what goes on sometimes in Mexico. And kind of the same thing is happening behind the scenes with COVID-19. The region, binational, there's a binational tri-state regional effort going on in El Paso without a lot of us knowing. The effort is for El Paso, Juarez, and Las Cruces. And you all can see this in the El Paso Public Health website to the order that was written on 423. It's on the right side, but you've got to scroll down, I think, to the third one, because it's English and Spanish, and then English and Spanish again. But what's going on is that there is a foundation called Medical Center of America's Foundation that is in El Paso right now. And their whole area of specialty is to learn how to deal with countries that need to either create an opportunity to fix an epidemic that may be occurring in a region. So we're very, very grateful that they are here. The other thing is that there is another foundation called BAPE. It is an international science and technology company that's been contracted. The effort was funded through private donations here. So they are working in collaboration with the entire medical and business team here in El Paso. The MCAN, the BAPE, are collaborating with the Paso del Norte Health Foundation, which is a real big one that works very closely with UMC. So we're trying to see patterns much faster that are occurring, or they are trying to identify patterns that occur and coming up with solutions as fast as possible. And their purpose is to tackle a pandemic as a region between El Paso, Juarez, and Las Cruces. And I don't know if anyone knew that, but I think that I wanted to share that piece of information. We're just so lucky and so fortunate and blessed to have those type of efforts going on behind the scenes. So when the mayor says something, let's just obey him. That's the bottom line. All right, that's it. We made it on time. Let's see, someone said, can you please repeat the name of the organization? Okay, they're on the bottom part of your document. I'll be happy to. The first one is the Medical Center of the Americas Foundation. And the second one is BATELLE. I think that's the way you pronounce it, BATLLE. And that one's an international science and technology company. That one, in collaboration with Paso del Norte, have teamed up with the tri-region of El Paso, Juarez, and Las Cruces. All right. Unless there's any questions, we did it perfect. 1 hour, less than an hour. So if anyone that wants to chat and play, what was it the other day that you were playing, Armando?
Oh.
For 7 minutes? No, I'm just teasing you.
No.
Okay. I'll kind of, before we close, I'm just gonna, you can maybe unmute us all if you want to.
I am about to do that right now.
And any other questions? Please remember, everything's on public.
Okay, let's see. Johnson.
I just want to say something before we go, and that is, this is the new normal. And so we're going to be meeting more through Zoom or Teams. And so we're learning more and more, and we should be getting better and better at this. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. And thank you, Armando. It went, Amanda, Lydia, and I learned from the first one. This went a lot smoother.
Good. I'm glad I did. Sorry I cut you off earlier, Rudy. Didn't mean to do that.
That's okay. It's fine. We got.
Did you guys, was it a little bit better for everybody showing the slides?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
definitely.
Oh, someone's doing this. Thank you. All right.
Well,
You'll
also to let everybody know that the meeting that was scheduled on May 11 for the professional meeting, the administrative professional meeting that has been deferred. So we are not going to be, like Rudy mentioned, these are not going to be our communication format via Zoom or Teams, but the administrative professional meeting scheduled in May, we will not have that one until.
And then quickly, please note that I am trying to get webcams to everyone that doesn't have one, but due to the schools, universities, and businesses going to this format, webcams are really high demand. as soon as I can. Everybody that doesn't have one at their workstations, just bear with me. Trying to do the best I can.
Good. Okay, have a nice weekend, everyone. See you in about 2 weeks if Amanda and I feel like we need to have our next one. Thanks for the incredible infection control.
Thank you for the information.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.